Hi everyone, I welcome you all for this video session. I am Ramadas, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, Vignan University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. In this video session, we are going to see about the context-free grammar continuations. In previous video session, we have seen this grammar, the grammar that consists of 4 tuples, and this context-free grammar have two types, that is one ambiguous grammar and another one is that unambiguous grammar. A grammar is said to be an ambiguous if it is produce more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations for the given input string. So, the grammar is said to be ambiguous, whereas if the grammar that produces only one leftmost derivation or rightmost derivations for a given input strings, then it is said to be an unambiguous grammar. So, in this video session, we are going to see these continuations of that one. Now, we are going to see the continuations of inherent ambiguity in context-free grammars. So, let us go for see this in this context-free language where L is generated, L is said to be inherently ambiguous. So, already you know that what is an ambiguous? Ambiguous, it produces more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations. In other words, it is produces more than one parse tree for the given input strings. Then the grammar is said to be ambiguous. Here, this inherent ambiguity, that is the language, the context-free language, L is said to be an inherently ambiguous if all the grammars are ambiguous. If all the grammars are ambiguous, then the grammar is said to be an inherent ambiguity, that is inherent ambiguous grammar. Even if one grammar for the language L is unambiguous, then the language is an unambiguous language. If there is only one unambiguous in this language, then the grammar is said to be an unambiguous language. So, let us see this example. Consider this following grammar, these expressions where E implies I that stands for an identifier likewise, or E plus E, that is called as a E that stands for here expressions, that is an arithmetic expressions where this plus, slash, star and within parenthesis are the arithmetic operations where the I, that is an identifier like that, A, B or followed by identifier A, likewise IA, IB, I0 or I1 likewise. In this language of these expressions, the generated by the grammar example is an unambiguous. Even though if it is that grammar is ambiguous, this grammar is an unambiguous, but even though the grammar is unambiguous, there is another one grammar for the same language, that is unambiguous. Okay, so unambiguous means what? A grammar that produces only one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations. In other words, it produces only one parse tree for the input string, then we can call it as a unambiguous. So, there are some languages or the ambiguous grammars. If that one of the grammar that produces an unambiguous, then the language generated by the grammar also unambiguous languages. Similarly, there are many languages that is an unambiguous, but it is not possible to convert all the ambiguous grammars into unambiguous grammars. So, this case we are going to see these expressions where this expression shows only the parse tree, where this parse tree has for the string is A plus A multiply A, that is A plus A star A. So, this unambiguous grammar where E that stands for expressions and T that stands for term, and E gives E plus T and T gives F or T star F, where F implies I or within parenthesis E has mentioned, where this I implies A, B or IA, IB, I0 or I1 likewise. So, if you go for draw the parse tree, draw the parse tree for this productions where E implies E plus T. I may take this one, E implies E plus T. And where T implies T star F. So, T implies T star F. And F implies I, where this I implies either A, likewise T, the T implies F. So, T implies F, where F implies I and I implies, again we may take it as A. Similarly, for this E, where E implies T implies F, F implies I implies A. So, what is the strings is generated here? A plus A star A plus A star A. So, this above grammars only one parse tree for the strings A plus A star A. It shows in this figure, that is an unambiguous grammars. But sometimes we may have a doubt like that, how can we go for expanding E into E gives E plus T? Instead of that, we may go for choose some other option where E gives E plus T okay, then E gives T, suppose we do like this, and T gives T star F and T gives F and F gives I, where I gives A, then F gives I gives A, T gives F and F gives I and I gives A. So, what is the strings generated? Suppose if we go for expanding on this left side of this production, that is the leftmost derivations, that is the leftmost derivation, that is L, MD, all leftmost derivation means we always replacing a leftmost non-terminal, whereas in rightmost derivation means we have to replace always the rightmost non-terminal. So, here we have done by this rightmost derivations, because we are going to expanding on the right side of this tree. We are going to expanding in this right side of this tree, whereas here we are expanding like a left side. But what is that? First it is evaluated this A star A, then we will go for added with the input string, but it is not matches with one. If you go for do like this, it will not be correct. So, this one will be the correct method. So, it generate the input string A plus A star A. So, we have to consider only the leaf nodes. That is A plus. So, then the grammar is an unambiguous expressions. So, let us take this one, what we have drawn in this one, E gives E plus T and T gives T star F, T gives F, F gives I and I implies A likewise. So, the language is in that the inherent ambiguity, that is we can go for combine two languages like L equals A power n, B power n, C power m, D power m, or n is greater than or equals 1, where m greater than or equal to 1, union, there is a union operations of another one language, A power n, B power m, C power m, D power n, where n is greater than or equal to 1, and same likewise m is greater than or equal to 1. Then we go for combine these two languages. Then the grammar is the inherent ambiguous. So in this context free language, the above grammar is an inherent ambiguous language. So this grammar is an ambiguous grammar. So this is for the ambiguous grammar. This ambiguous grammar, S implies AB or C, A implies AB or AB, B implies C, B, D or CD, and C implies A, C, D or A, D, D, where D is in, first D is in uppercase letters, and D implies B, D, C or B, C. So this grammar is said to be an ambiguous. So ambiguous means what? It produces more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations, or else it produces more than one parse tree for the given input strings. So the given input string has A, B, B, C, C, D, D. That is a twice of this. A, B, B, C, C, D, D. So we have this two leftmost derivations. Either two leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations, then it's said to be an ambiguous grammar. So let's look at this. We are going here for this leftmost derivations. Okay, so first we can take this string S implies AB. S implies AB. So S implies AB. Here this subscript LM, which indicates that leftmost derivations. Whereas if we going to replacing rightmost non-terminal means we may be right RM, that is a rightmost derivations. Whereas now we are going to do the leftmost derivation, so we are writing like a LM. LM, that stands for leftmost derivation. So leftmost derivation S implies AB, that is S implies AB, where this A again it is expanded by, this A is again expanded by small a. This A is expanded by small a, capital A and B. Okay, the A is expanded like that. Then this A and the remaining rest of the thing B is same as it is. Okay, so it is replaced by, the B is replaced by C, B, D. That is C, B, D likewise. Okay, again this B can be replaced by CD. That is replaced by that CD. So we can go for that, always replacing this leftmost non-terminal. So what is the leftmost non-terminal? Leftmost derivation means we have to choose only the leftmost non-terminal. So the caps A, the uppercase A is a leftmost non-terminal. So non-terminal always denoted in uppercase. So here the A is an uppercase letter, so it is a variable. So it is a non-terminal. We can go for replacing this leftmost non-terminal A. So it is expanded like that. This A can be expanded by A, B likewise. Then the A can be replaced by A, B likewise. Okay, A, B. This A can be replaced by A, B. This A can be replaced by A, B. Likewise, next we have B. B is the next non-terminal. That also can be expanded. B is going to replaced by, what is the B? B is replaced by C, B, D. So, C, B, D likewise, where this B can be replaced. B is a non-terminal. The B is replaced by C, D. So we may get A, B, B, C, C, D, D. So the given input string we arrived. Instead of this productions, we may go for choose the alternative productions, where here we have alternative productions where S implies C, where S implies C, where C implies A, C, D. Now we are going to replace that A, C is replaced by again A, D, D, then remaining thing D likewise. So the D again can be replaced by A, B, D, C and D, D likewise. So D can be replaced by BC. A, B, this D can be replaced by BC. So B, C, C, D and D. So this is contains the sentential form. This is called as a sentential form, where this sentential form that contains only the terminal symbols on that one. Then we put like that, we are writing here LM or LMD. Likewise, we may put, and finally this line we can put it the star mark that indicates the contains only the terminal symbols. Now, the next topic we are going to see about this Chomsky normal form, where this Chomsky normal form seems to be like a grammar, the same, this is a context-free grammar, where this context-free grammar, the G that consists of N, T, P, S, where N that stands for non-terminal, P that stands for, T that stands for terminal and P that stands for production rule and S stands for a starting symbol. So, it's a Chomsky normal form if the production rules P are in the either of the following forms. So, it has two conditions in that the Chomsky normal form. First thing is that the right side of this production, two non-terminal at the right hand side. It's a very important here. Two non-terminal symbols on that right side of this production and no epsilon derivations. No epsilon derivations. So, from this grammar A, B, C, I mean capital A, B, C are the variables that is called non-terminal. It belongs to the non-terminal. In sometimes we may be referred as a variable and sometimes may be called as a non-terminal. So, we can denote it by either V or N, but its meaning that it is a non-terminal. It is denoted in uppercase letters. And A, small a is a terminal. It is A belongs to the terminal symbols. Let's see this one. Converting a Chomsky normal form. So, this context-free grammar, the given context-free grammar can be converted into Chomsky normal form, that is abbreviated form CNF, Chomsky normal form. So, we have to do this one, we have to go for the simplifications. Main thing is that we have to preserving the meaning, that is we are going to do some changes in this grammar without affecting the grammar or the language generated by the grammar, whereas there are some simplification steps are there. So, these three are the simplification steps. One is for that eliminate useless symbol. First one is that eliminate useless symbols and second eliminate epsilon production, that is epsilon means it is an empty, and third one eliminate unit productions. So, these three we have to be applied into this given grammar, in this context free grammar. After applying that and finally we may get the Chomsky normal form, that is CNF. So the Chomsky normal form. So context-free grammar, we can go for categorized as a two. One is for CNF and a second one is for GNF. So now let's be going to see only for CNF, that is Chomsky normal form. So first we are going to see the useless symbols. So we are going to eliminate this useless symbol. So useless symbol means what? What is that useless symbols? If there is some derivations in the form of S implies alpha x beta. S implies alpha x beta. Here alpha and beta is a string of variables. It may be a alpha, for example, alpha comma beta. It belongs to non-terminal union terminal into multiple number of times, that is clean closure. So what is the meaning of this? Whether it may be a terminal or it may be a non-terminal, or it may be combinations of both terminal and non-terminal in more occurrences. I mean 0 or more occurrences, that is a clean closures. Here this alpha x beta gives W, where W is nothing but is a string of terminals. String of terminal for W, that is belongs to the terminal T star. That means 0 or more occurrences of terminal symbols. So if the grammar is in this form, then we can go for that X belongs to non-terminal union terminal is a useful. So it is becoming useful if there is a derivation S implies alpha x beta, where W for belongs to this terminal. So if it is useful means this W, that means the strings terminals belongs, it produces only for the terminal symbols. Where X belongs to same non-terminal union terminal is a useless, it is X is not useful. That means it is not generating any terminal symbols. So then the grammar is that, then the symbol is called as a useless symbols. So in this here we are going to eliminate the useless symbols and does not affect the language of the grammar. So if you go for removing or eliminating the symbols from the given grammar, it does not affect the language of the grammar. Let us define the two classes of symbols that help us to remove the useless symbols. So we are going to see this one first. We are going to say the generating X. X implies W for some terminal strings W. And we can say that it is a reachable. So that means where X is a reachable, if there is a derivation, it should be a reachable, then S implies alpha x beta for some alpha and beta. And symbols that is useful will be both generating and reachable. So we should be eliminated the useless symbols by eliminating the first symbols that are not generating. We have to going to see this one, eliminate the first symbol that are not generating, and second then eliminate the remaining grammars, those symbols that are not reachable. So what is here reachable things? For example, A implies B is a production. Let's take an assumption A implies B, where A, S tends to A. The A is reachable from S, and the B is reachable from A. B is reachable from A. So that is the meaning of here reachable. Sometimes, suppose if we have Suppose if we have S implies AB and A implies A. So this first A, it is reachable from S, and A, that generating the terminal symbols, it's generating the terminal symbols. Okay. See, X implies W. That means X implies W. W is a terminal symbols for some string terminal that X is generating. This is called as a generating, where S implies also a reachable, where B is not generate any symbols. B is not generated any symbols. Okay, so that is the meaning here. Eliminate the first symbols of that are not generating. So which symbol is not generating, then eliminate from that, from the remaining grammars, those symbols that are not reachable. So the first step is we are going to eliminate the useless symbols. So we'll see this example where this grammar, this given grammar is S implies A, B, A, and A gives B. So this is the production number 1. This is the production number 1, and this is the production number 2. Here S and A is generating. See, S generating A and A generating the terminal symbols B. So that S and A is generating, since it has a production, S implies AB or A. So S also we have one more production A, and A implies B. So A and B are generate themselves. So what is the meaning? S implies A. S is generated A, and A is generated B, where S implies A, B, right, or A. That is the meaning here. S implies A. Now let's see this A generating B, whereas this B is not generated any terminal symbols. Moreover, it is not reachable from the starting state. So here the S is the start symbol, that is the starting state, but it is not reachable to B or any other states, like some other states we are not supposed to reach the state B. So B is not generating and has no productions. That is the meaning here. B is not generating because B does not produce any terminal symbols or strings and has no productions. Okay, so that's what they mentioned here. B is not generating and has no productions therefore. So we eliminate this B from this grammar, then grammar is become S implies A, small a, and A gives B. So look at that. Another one thing is that after eliminating this useless symbol, so now you may understand that which one is a useless symbol. The given grammar is what? S implies AB or A, and A implies B. So what is the meaning here? S gives A. S implies A. That means A that generated the terminal symbols B. Moreover, this A is reachable from S, where S is the starting state or start symbol. And this A is a terminal symbols, it is generated by the S. Whereas this B, there is no productions for B. There is no productions for B. So we are not supposed to reachable from any states like S or A. So that the B is an useless symbol. The B is called as an useless symbol. So we are eliminating this B from this given grammar. So after that we may get this production S implies A or A where A implies B. Next, we are going to see this generating symbols. Which one is generating, which one is not generating. So, generation symbol is, to compute the generating symbol, we need to be the following steps. We are understand what is a generating symbols. Every symbols of T that stands for terminal, generating, therefore it generates itself. For example, that is the first thing. If it is generated the terminal symbol, that is it is generated itself, that is the generating symbols. And if A gives alpha, where A is also generating for alpha, where this alpha belongs to terminal or this alpha equals epsilon. That means where this alpha belongs to terminal or alpha that implies epsilon, that is also called as generating symbols. So, example here, that computing generating symbols, the given grammar is E implies small e capital B or E, where A implies A. So, from this grammar, we have to going for applying this one. Every symbol of T that stands for terminal. So, generating therefore itself. So, production E that generates the small e. The small e is nothing but it is a terminal. Similarly, next production A implies also terminal. So, which are the symbols are generating symbols? E is generated at terminal, A is generated A, right? Where E is also generated EB. E is generated EB, where this B is not reachable. It is not reachable. So, in this case, EB has no generating symbols for B. So, B is eliminated. So, remaining answer is A implies, so they clearly mention here, A implies A and E implies E. And AE generating the terminal symbols E and A, hence E and A also called as a generating symbols. If this production, if the grammar symbols is generating terminal, both left hand side is also a terminal, non-terminal also become a generating symbols. So, here for this grammar, for this given grammar, generating symbols are A, E, E, A. That's it. A, E, A. So, the symbols are, we can write A, E, A. Likewise, that is called as generating symbols. Next, we are going to see these reachable symbols. So, what is the reachable? What is that not able to reach the symbols of that? So, from the same concept, this grammar that reachable the symbols can be computed is, first thing is that S is reachable. The steps we have to going to follow that S is a reachable, where S is the start symbol. Next, if A is reachable, then all productions with A in head, all symbols of those productions are also reachable. So, first thing is that S is reachable, where S is the start symbol. Suppose if you have a production S implies A, where A is also reachable. If A is reachable means then all the productions with A, A have many productions in head, and all symbols of those productions are also reachable. So, it must have to produce that terminal symbol. That is what the saying. See this example for reachable symbols. A implies AB or A implies A. So find the reachable symbols. So questions may be given like that. So find the reachable symbol. E implies A, it is reachable, that is a terminal symbol. So it generated the terminal symbols. See, look at that. E implies AB or A and A implies A, where B is not generating, hence it is eliminated. So the grammar is become E implies A and A implies A, hence EA are reachable. So those symbols that contains only the strings A, so the language may contain the strings is A. Could you understand that? A implies AB. So two non-terminal on the right hand side of these productions. What are that? First thing is that A, where A is the start symbol. From start symbol, first we can reach to the A, where A that generates the terminal symbols small a. So A gives A, that is the reachable. Similarly, E gives another A. E gives alternative productions of E is also A. So E gives A is also reachable. Where if you take this B, so the B is not reachable because it does not produce any terminal symbol. There is no productions for B. That is important. There is no productions for B, and also it is going to be eliminated. So that is meaning of that reachable symbols. Now, in this series of this, next we are going to see about this unit productions. So far, we have seen what is the reachable and what is that eliminating. How to we can go for eliminate this reachable symbols, non-reachable symbols from this productions. So, in this continuation, we are going to see this unit productions. So, unit productions like this in the form of S implies B. So, there is two steps are there. It must satisfy these two conditions. First thing, write the productions without unit productions and check what we are missing because of the step 1. So, write the productions without unit productions. So, the production should not contain this unit production like that. What is it here? Unit productions. We'll see here how can we go for eliminate this unit productions. So, from this example, we may understand that the S is a start symbol and starting non-terminal S implies A or B or C. So, there are 3 alternative productions for S. And the next is that B implies capital A or BB. That is the 2 alternative productions for B. And A implies small a or BC or caps B. So, now we can go for eliminating this unit productions. So, what is the solutions for the first step is S implies A or C and B implies BB. There is a terminal symbol productions are there. So, we may take this option B implies BB. Because S implies A or C, right? And A implies A and BC. So, now see this, what we are missing after applying the steps 1? Because we are missing this B. For example, if you take this production S implies B, where this B is going to replaced by BB and suppose S implies B and this B and B implies this A, S implies B and B implies A, then it's generating the A. So, S implies B and B implies A and A implies BC. So, we can take it this S implies BB, A or BC likewise. So, we have to add these into this productions in the place of S. So, what is that S? S contains AA or C. So, AA or C. So, S contains that AA or C. S contains AA or C. And next, in this previous production, the B contains, what is that? It contains, S contains BB. S contains BB and S contains small a and S contains BC. So, those things we are written here. S implies AA or C, BB, A or BC. And B that generates that BB. So, in this place of BB, in the place of B, it generates a BB. And A implies A. A implies what? Already is there. A is there, BC is there, and B, capital B. At this capital B, it implies A. Already A is there, B is there. So, we can go for that same as it is A or BC. So, now see this second, B implies A and A implies A. Then B implies A and A implies BC. So, in this place of B, it is going to be replaced by with this A and BC. Okay, so now we can go for writing this one. B implies BB, A, BC. Already we have BB. This BB, then it is replaced by this A and BC. So, what is meaning here? B implies A. A implies small a. So, we may take A because A is a terminal symbols. Similarly, B implies A and A implies BC. BC is also a terminal symbol. So, we may go for add those two terminal symbols like A and BC. So, we have added here the place of B productions. Already the BB is there. Then we can go for applying that A or BC. And for A, the same as it is, there is no any non-terminals replacing like that. So, this is called as a third rule as per A gives B and B gives B. So, add this is in the productions list of A. So, we can go for adding this into that A. So, this is what that eliminating this unit productions. Eliminating that unit production. That means A gives B, B gives C, likewise it is going on. Then directly we can go for take it into A gives terminal symbols. What the productions? Those productions we are written here. Okay. So, this is the answer. We are going to add this BB. This is the final answer for this one. For the unit production example, this is the final answers. We are adding this BB. So, what reasons we are getting this one BB? A implies B. Sorry. A implies B, where B implies BB. So, we are going to add in the A production as BB. Right? Similarly, B implies A, where A implies A. So, in the place of B productions, we are adding this A, and place of this B production, we are adding this BC. So, look at this BB is already there, A, BC we are added. Okay. Now, where A gives B, where A gives B, That means we can go for adding that BB. So this is an example for eliminating this unit productions. After eliminate this unit production. So unit productions like that, what is the meaning actually is that if S tends to A and A tends to B and B tends to small b. So we can write in the form of S tends to B. So in the place of S, A implies B, B implies B. So B we can write like this. So this is called as an elimination of this unit productions. Next we are going to see this eliminations of epsilon productions. In this given grammar, if there is any epsilon productions, then we are going to eliminate that. So that is called here epsilon productions. So a grammar where it is a nullable, that means it is producing this nullable means it is an epsilon, that is nullable. If there is a derivation, x gives epsilon. So from this grammar, we may consider this grammar where this grammar S implies AB, S implies AB and A implies epsilon, B implies epsilon. There are two productions having epsilon where if you do like that, A also producing epsilon. See, S tends to A, AB, right? Where A tends to epsilon, where this A tends to epsilon. And second, S tends to be like, B tends to epsilon. So automatically S also become eliminated. That is, this is also epsilon. It produces A is also epsilon and B is also become epsilon. So S is eliminated. So this is the concept here. We are going to applying this eliminations of epsilon productions. We'll see this one, eliminating this epsilon productions. In this epsilon productions, we look at that S implies ASB and AAB, AB or A, where A is an epsilon. So only the A is generating epsilon. So the epsilon does not belong to this languages. So we can go for this. And next thing is that S implies ASB or AAB or AB. Then again we may get AB or A. So what is the reason here? So we no need to write this AB again because S tends to ASB. This is already is there. Now S tends to A, capital A, B. What is that A? A is an epsilon. So if you apply this epsilon, then you may get AB for this productions. Moreover, already we have one more AB. So that is what they written here, right? ASB, small a, capital A, B, and two ABs is appearing. So we no need to write this AB twice. Instead of that, we may go for writing say once. So S implies ASB, AAB, AB or A. This is already in the given grammar. So now this is called as an elimination of epsilon productions. Next, we are going to see this Chomsky normal form. Once the grammar has given, sometimes they may be asking in the big questions, convert the context-free grammar into Chomsky normal form. So, in this Chomsky normal form, if you want to convert from that context-free grammar into Chomsky normal form, we have to do these three conditions, 3 steps. What is that? First, we have to eliminate the reachable or non-reachable, non-generating symbols, epsilon productions. Likewise, we have to apply these three rules. After applying these three rules, then the grammar generated by this generated grammar is called as a Chomsky normal form. It is in the form of CNF. Okay. So, this Chomsky normal form. So, consider this grammar, where this grammar is S implies AX BX. S implies AX BX, where this X is a non-terminal. Again, this X non-terminal that generate the symbols AY, BY, epsilon, where this Y is generated again X. So, X generated Y, that is means S implies AX BX, where X generated AY, where Y generated again X. Okay, and Y also generated the one more terminal symbol C. Here, X is nullable. Why they mentioned as X is nullable? Because the X is a non-terminal. It generates or produces the terminal symbols, that is called an epsilon. Is a nullable because it's producing that nullable, that is epsilon. So, it is called as a nullable. So, therefore, Y, there is Y. Y is here Y, because X is also generating this nullable. After eliminations of this epsilon, we may get this S productions AX BX. Then X implies what? X implies epsilon. So, S tends to AX BX. So, X implies epsilon. So, we may go for applying that A epsilon BX. That means ABX. That is what they mentioned here, ABX. Whereas, we may go for applying instead of this AX BX, where AX B epsilon. So, we may get AXB. Okay. So, we written here AXB. Suppose if you go for applying both, S implies AX BX, where this X generating the epsilon. So, if you are applying this epsilon, A epsilon, B epsilon, then finally we may get AB. So, this is the AB. So, this is the method we can, after eliminating this epsilon productions, the S productions become like this. Now, we may take this X. What is the X? Now, X gives AY, BY. So, we may return X gives AY, BY. Right? Now, if we go for that, how can we get this AB? How can we get this one? Because Y implies epsilon. I mean, X implies epsilon. If you go for applying this epsilon into the place of that Y, and Y gives again epsilon, then we may go for this epsilon, that is Y gives epsilon. Because X gives an epsilon in the place of that, it is replacing, then we may get like this AB. And X, Y implies, if you apply this X, C and X, there is a two options only that. So, this is called as a eliminations. Okay, this is one of the steps. In this continuation, we will see this after eliminating, then we go for finding this unit productions. we may go for this unit productions. This unit productions by means of what? A implies B, B implies C. So we can write A implies C. That is the unit productions. But here we may get this productions in this form. After eliminating this, then we may go for this Y implies X. Then we may get like that. Y AX, BX, ABX. This is already we may get it like that. Okay. In this case, if there is 2 or more symbols, probably if it is 3 symbols on the right hand side, then we can go for divide. We can go for break this productions because we have 3 symbols are here. So this for these 3 symbols, we can go for break the right hand side of this S and replace the A, small a by capital A, small b by capital B and small c by capital C. So wherever it is not a unit production, it should not become a unit production. So we can go for replacing. But this is as per the rule. If the right hand side contains 3 or more symbols, then we can go for break up this productions into maximum 2 symbols. There is at most 2 symbols on the right side. So that's what the CNF properties. Then only it's satisfying the properties of context-free grammar. That is Chomsky normal form. So this is an example for the next. After generating that, we can go for replacing all. Then we may get new symbols also we are introduced because we are generating, we are breaking this productions into 3 symbols means we can go for break it into 2 symbols. So in this place we can go for replacing that. See, look at this EF. E that's for AX. A is A and X that stands for AY, BY, A or B likewise. So this is the concept of that conversions of Chomsky normal form. Next is that Greibach normal form. So there are 2 types of normal forms are there. One is for the Chomsky normal form and second one is that Greibach normal form. So this Greibach normal form is another type. So first thing is that context-free grammar. So from this context-free grammar, so it is categorized as 2. One is Chomsky normal form. So in this Chomsky normal form, we have 3 methods are there. One is for eliminate the unit productions, eliminate this epsilon productions and not generating symbols likewise. Here we can go for this GNF. This is called as a Greibach normal form. So in this Greibach, G that stands for the Greibach normal form. All the productions rules satisfy one of the following conditions. So all this production has satisfied one of the following conditions. First is that your start symbol generating epsilon if S implies epsilon, and a non-terminal generating a terminal. For example, A implies small a. And third, a non-terminal generating a terminal which is followed by any number of non-terminals. So non-terminal that generate the terminal, then followed by any number of non-terminals. Okay, I repeat this one. Greibach normal form is another type of that context-free grammar. So this GNF, if we are going to convert into that, the given context-free grammar into Greibach normal form. Whereas if you go for convert into Greibach normal form, it has to satisfy these 3 conditions. First condition, a start symbol generating epsilon. Okay, and a non-terminal generating a terminal. And third one, a non-terminal generating a terminal, then the terminal followed by any number of non-terminal. So any number of non-terminals. So A followed by any number of non-terminals, that is A, S, B, that are all non-terminal symbols, which is written in uppercase. So it is a non-terminals, or we can call it as a variables. So first step. So what is the first step? It converts the grammar into CNF. So convert the grammar into CNF, that is set. First we have to convert into CNF format, that is a Chomsky normal form. If the given grammar is not in CNF, convert it into CNF. That is first conditions. First we have to convert into CNF. Second, if the grammar exists left recursions. What is called here left recursion means there is a left side of the symbols also same like a right side of the symbols. Then we can go for eliminate this left recursions. For example, x gives xa. So left hand side and right hand side both are same symbols. Both are same symbols means this is called as a left recursion. This is called left recursion. So we can go for eliminate it. So we can go for x tends to ax. Likewise, we can go for that eliminations of that one. So if the grammar exists left recursion, eliminate it. If the context-free grammar contains left recursion, we have to eliminate it. And step 3, the grammar convert in the given productions rule into GNF, that is Greibach normal form. If any production rules in the grammar is not in GNF form, then we can go for convert it. So these are all the steps we are going to do for converting into that Greibach normal form. See, we will take this example from this given grammar. So what is the given grammar here? S implies small a, capital A, B, or S implies AB. Where A implies AB or A and B implies BB or B. So we can go for rewrite this production. So we may have AA or epsilon, BB or epsilon. So the production rules of the grammar G1 that satisfy the rules specified by this CNF. So we can take this one as a grammar 1. It is called as a grammar 1. There are two grammars are there, the given grammar. So we can call this as a G1. Where this is as a grammar 2. That is G2. So we can go for name it like this, grammar 1 and grammar 2. So the grammar 1, so G1 that satisfy the rules specified by the GNF. So GNF is in the form of, the G1 is in the form of Greibach normal form. However, the G2, the grammar 2 does not satisfy the rules for GNF because A implies epsilon, B implies epsilon, contains epsilon only. Okay. So only for that start symbol can generate the epsilon. Only the start symbol can generate the epsilon. So the grammar G2 is not in that GNF. So if the grammar is not in this GNF, then we can go for converted into CNF format. So we can go for applying all the eliminations of epsilon productions and useless symbols and reachable symbols likewise. So let's see this continuations of example. S implies XB or AA, where A implies A, SA, B implies B, and X implies A. So the production rule A gives SA. A gives SA is not in this GNF. So we substitute that in the place of S. That means we are going to substitute in the place of X. So it is returned as S tends to XB, AA in the production rule. So A gives SA as this SA is become, we can go for substituting this XB likewise. That is I mentioned here. it is replacing. So the production rule S gives XB and B gives XB is not in that GNF, because what is the reason it is not in the GNF? The right hand side that contains 3 symbols. So if it is contains 3 symbols, maximum we have only 2 symbols. So if we have 3 symbols, we can go for break these productions. We have to break this one. We have to break this one into 2 symbols or like that. So we substitute X implies A in the production rule, XB, and B gives XBA as like that. So look at that. We can go for following that. We can go for replacing. Even though if you are replacing that, we may get another problem that is called left recursion, because what I told already that left recursion means the starting symbol A and right hand side of this productions also contain AA. So in this case, it is called as a left recursions. So another one problem is here. This also we can replacing this left recursion or eliminate this left recursions. So in this case, now the production rule S implies XB and B gives XBA is not in this GNF. So we can substitute X into A. The production rule XB and B gives XBA. Again it is followed. We can go for replacing like that. We'll remove this left recursions. A implies AA. Then we may get AB, AA, A and AC, AB, AC like that. We may go for generating these productions like that. So the Greibach normal form, C implies epsilon. So we can go for applying this epsilon to this production. We may get like that. So this is the form of that. S implies AA. We can go for substitute in all the places. We can get it. So all we can go for replacing this. Again C into ACC not in the, so we can go for substitute. A implies AC. So repeatedly we have to substituting this. After substituting, then we may get this productions like that. So we have to substitute repeatedly. So this is what the Greibach normal form. Next to the continuations, we are going to see this closure properties of context-free languages. So already we have seen this closure properties of in regular languages, where here also we are going to see this closure properties of context-free languages. Here both are same, both what we have seen in this regular languages, also the same operations, except there is only one difference here, there is an intersections. So intersection is not suitable in this CFL, I mean context-free language. Whereas in regular language, we may go for intersection, whereas in context-free language, there is no intersections. So remaining those properties like union, concatenations, clean closures, and complementations and difference all are same as it is in this regular languages. So I hope you all understand this concept, and I am going to show some assignments topics. So how to convert this CFG into Chomsky normal form. This is an assignment given. Please, all of you have to note down and submit the assignment as per the schedule. Thank you all. Thank you for watching this video.